Hello everyone. So today we'll be doing chapter 9. This is the last chapter of class 6 political and social life. And the name of the chapter is urban livelihoods. In the previous chapter we discussed about the rural livelihood and how farm and non-farm activities are done in villages, but it is mostly the farm activities which are done. Yeah, so there's this illustration. Okay, you can see pictures. You can see bus. You can see a barber here. You can see somebody cleaning here. Okay, you can see big house. Sorry, you can see big houses here, and yeah, you can see a factory out of which the smoke is coming out. You can see a school, you can see dhaba, you can see bank, you can see bus stop, and what else, you can see a hospital. Yeah, that is all. You can see an auto here. Okay, so now let's start. What do you see in this illustration? We've already discussed all the things we can see. You have already read about the work that people do in rural areas. Now compare the work that people in illustrations are doing with the work that people do in rural areas. So we've already discussed the farm and the non-farm activities. Okay. Some parts of the cities are different from others. What differences do you notice in this illustration? So we can see firstly the big buildings here, the factories here, and then this portion we can see like the bus here, the somebody selling, I think, some sort of eatable here on the side. Okay, so now we are here. Let's start here this side. I hope you can see clearly. Yeah. There are more than 5,000 towns and 27 big cities in India. There are more than 5,000 towns in India. Big cities like Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata have more than a million people living and working there. They say that the city never sleeps. Let's visit one and find out the work people do in the city. Are they employed by someone, or are they self-employed? How do they organize themselves, and do they have similar employment and earning opportunities? Now we'll see the different type of opportunities which are available in a city life as compared to that of a village life that we've already discussed in the last chapter. Working on the street. This is the city where my cousin lives. I have been here only a few times. It is a very big. Once when I came here, my cousin took me around. We left the house early in the morning. As we turned the corner onto the main street, we saw that it was already buzzing with activity. The vegetable vendor was busy arranging tomatoes, carrots, and cucumbers in baskets at her stall, so that people could see what she had to sell. Hmm? Next to her stall was a lovely, colorful one that sold all kinds of flowers. We bought a red rose and a yellow rose. On the pavement opposite, we saw a person selling newspapers with small crowd of people around, and everyone wanted to read the news. Buses whizzed past, and there were auto rickshaws filled with school children nearby. Under a tree, a cobbler sat taking his tool and materials out of a small tin box. Next to him, the roadside barber had begun his work. He already had a customer who wanted an early morning shave. A little way down the road, a woman was pushing along a cart with all kinds of plastic bottles, boxes, hairpin clips, etc. in it, while another person on a cycle trolley was carrying vegetables to sell to the people in their houses. We came to a place where rickshaws were standing in rows waiting for customer. We decided to take one to the market, which was about 2 kilometers down the road. Okay. So here is the story about Bachchu Manji, a cycle rickshaw puller. I came from a village in Bihar where I worked as a mason. My wife and three children live in the village. I don't own land in the village. I do not get any masonry work regularly. The income that I earned was not enough for a family. After I reached the city, I bought an old cycle rickshaw and paid for it in installment. This was many years ago. I came to the bus stop every morning and to take these customers wherever they want to go. I work till 8:30 in the evening. Sorry. I take rides up to 6 kilometers in the surrounding areas. Each customer gives me rupees 10, rupees 5 to 10 per trip depending on the distance. When I am ill, I can't do this work. So on those days I do not earn anything. I stay with my friends in a rented room. They work in a nearby factory. I earn between rupees 80 to 100 every day, out of which I spend rupees 50 to 60 on food and rent. The rest I save for the family. I visit my village 2 to 3 times a year to see my family, though my family survives on the money I send. My wife also earns from agriculture work that she gets once in a while. So here he's telling that the rickshaw puller, Bachchu is telling that how he came from his village to work in the city life, because in the village he didn't get much of the masonry work in which he's skilled. So he came here and he bought a rickshaw for which he paid in installments, and then he's telling that how much he earns and how much he spends on rent and food, and the remaining amount he sends to his family. So here some questions. Why did Bachchu Manji come to the city to earn better? Because there wasn't much masonry work. Why can't Bachchu Manji live with his family? Talk to a vegetable vendor or hawker and find out how they earn, organize their work, their way of preparing and purchasing and selling, and etc. So you can ask them how where do you get your vegetables from and at what price do you get. You can talk, but Chumanji has to think twice before taking a day off from the work, because if he doesn't cycles and takes the customer to the particular location, then he won't have any source of income for that particular day, so he cannot take off on many days. Like he cannot take off on all the days. Like Bachchu Manji, a large number of people in the city work on uh, the streets. In a survey of Ahmedabad, it was found that 12% of all the workers in the city were people belong working 12% of all the workers in a city were people working on the street. They sometimes sell things or repair them or provide a service. They work on their own. They are not employed by anyone and therefore have to organize their own work. They have to plan how much to purchase, as well where and how to set up their shops. Their shops are usually temporary structures, sometimes just some board or some paper spread over discarded boxes, or maybe canvas sheet hung up on a few poles. They may also use their own cards or simply a plastic sheet spread on the pavement. They can be asked to dismantle their shops anytime. By the police, they have no security. There are certain parts of the city where these hawkers are not allowed to enter. Vendors sell things that are often prepared at home by the families who purchase, clean, sort, make them ready to sell. For example, those who sell food or snacks on the street prepare most of these at home. Often workers who make a living in the city are forced to set up their homes on the street as well. Below is a space where several workers leave their belongings during the day and cook their meals at night. So you can see here how they've left their stuff and gone to work. Let me yeah. There are almost 1 crore street vendors in the country working in different urban areas. Street vending was still recently looked upon only as an obstruction to traffic and to people walking. However, with the effort of many organizations, it is now recognized as a general benefit and as a right of people to earn their livelihood. The move government is thinking about modifying the law that banned street vendors, so that they have a place to work and that there is also a free flow of traffic and people. Hawking zones have been suggested for towns and cities. It has also been suggested that mobile vendors should be allowed to move around freely. Hawkers need to be part of committees that are set up to take these and other decisions relating to them. So it is often seen that these hawkers are seen as disturbing and they block the traffic and etc. So there is a suggestion that the particular zones which can be available for these people to sell their goods and other items can be made in the market. When we reached the market, the shops were just beginning to open, but the place was already crowded because of the festival season. There were rows and rows of shops selling sweets, clothes, toys, footwear, utensils, electronic goods, etc. There was a dentist's clinic also at one end. My cousin had an appointment with the dentist. We were there first so that we would not miss our turn. We had to wait for a while in the room before she was called inside. The dentist examined her and asked her to come back the following day to get a cavity in her tooth filled. My cousin was scared because she thought that the process would be painful and was upset that she had allowed her teeth to go bad. Okay, so from the dental clinic, she took me to a new garment showroom because I wanted to buy some ready-made clothes. The showroom had three floors. Each floor had a different type of clothes. We went to the third floor where clothes for girls were kept. Harpreet and Vandana, business persons. My father and my uncle worked in a small shop during festival times, and on Sundays, my mother and I helped them in the shop. I started working there only after I completed my college. Harpreet. We opened this showroom some years ago. I am a dress designer. Our business has changed. These days, people prefer to buy ready made clothes rather than having them stitched. The trend these days is for ready made garments. You also need an attractive display for them, Vandana. For a showroom, we buy things from different places. We buy most of these materials from Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Ludhiana, and Tripura. Some materials have also come from Noida and Gurgaon towns near Delhi. We get some dress items from foreign countries too. There are several things we need to do to run this showroom properly. We advertise in various newspapers, cinema theaters, television, and radio channels. Currently, this building is rented, but soon we plan to buy it. Ever since this market has become the main market for people living in the surrounding apartment, our business has grown. We've been able to pay a car and book a flat in an apartment complex nearby. Why did Harpreet and Vandana start a showroom? Why do they have to run have to run the showroom? So you can of course ask them to buy materials from different places like Mumbai, Ahmedabad, and they have to advertise for their shop. Then the next question is, talk to a shop owner in a market and find out how he plans his work. Have there been changes in his business in the past 20 years? You can ask if to a shopkeeper. What are the differences between those who sell on the street and those on the market? So see, people those who sell on the street, they are not some they can be moved from there anytime by the police because they do not own that place, whereas the people who sell in the street on the street, they will not be moved mostly because it is a legal place in the sense that they have rented it out or proper documentation and etc. Like Harpreet and Vandana, there are many people who own shops in various markets in the city of the city. These shops may be small or large and they sell different things. Most business persons manage their own shops or businesses. They are not employed by anyone, but they do employ a number of other workers as supervisors and helpers. There are permanent shops that are given a license to do business by the municipal corporation uh, by the municipal corporation. Yeah. The municipal corporation also decides on which day of the week the market has to remain closed. For example, the shops in the above market are closed on Wednesdays. This market has also small offices, shops that provide services such as banks, couriers, services, and etc. In the factory, in the factory workshop area, I wanted to have zari work done on one of my dresses, which I needed for a special occasion. My cousin said that she knew Nirmala, who works in the garment factory. Nirmala neighbors do zari work and embroidery. So we caught a bus and headed towards the factory area. The bus was really crowded. At every stop, more and more people got on, and hardly anyone seemed to get off. People were pushing others to make more space for themselves. My cousin guided me to a corner so that we wouldn't get squashed. Squash मतलब ऐसे हो जाना, मतलब ऐसे हो जाना. I wondered how people travel like this every day. As the bus entered the factory area, people started getting off. We also got off soon at the crossing. What a relief that was. There were large number of people sitting on railings or in groups at the crossing. They seemed to be waiting for someone. Some groups had people on scooters standing by and walking with them. My cousin explained that this place was called Labor Chalk. There were daily wager um, these were daily wage laborers who work as helpers to masons. They dig at construction sites, lift loads, or unload trucks in the market, dig pipelines and telephone cables, and also build roads. There are thousands of such casual workers in the city. So a labor chalk daily wage of wait for the sea. You can see people sitting there with the with the polythene, for which where they wait for people to come and take them for the daily work. And then this kind of area is called a labor chalk. We entered the factory area to find it full of small workshops. There seemed to be endless rows of them. In one section, we saw people working in small room on sewing machines where cloth was being stitched. One person operated one sewing machine. Clothes that had been stitched were stacked on one side of the room. We located Nirmala in the stitching unit. She was happy to meet my cousin and promised to get my zari work done on my dress. Nirmala works as a tailor in an export garment unit. The factory where she works makes summer clothes for people in the foreign countries like USA, UK, Germany, and Netherlands. Workers like Nirmala have to work very long hours in the months from December to April. A normal working day begins at 9 a.m. and finishes only by 10 p.m. Sometimes even later. She works for 6 days a week. At times when the work needs to be done urgently, she works on Sundays too. Nirmala is paid rupees 80 a day for 8 hours and rupees 40 extra for working late. By June, the work is over and factory reduces its staff. Nirmala will also be asked to leave for about 3 to 4 months in the year where there is no work for her. Most workers like Nirmala are employed on what is known as casual basis. That is, they are required to come as and when the employer needs them. Okay. Jobs like Nirmala's are not permanent. If workers complain about their pay or working condition, they are asked to leave. There is no job security or protection if there is ill treatment. They are also expected to work a very long hours. For example, in the cloth mill units, the workers work on day and night shifts. With each shift lasting 12 hours, one worker works on one machine for 12 hours and then is replaced by another on the same machine for the next 12 hours. Working in call centers is a new form of employment in big cities. A call center is a centralized office that deals with problems and questions that customers have regarding goods purchased and services like banking, ticket booking, etc. Call centers are generally set up as large rooms with workstations that include a computer, a telephone set, and a supervisor station. India has become a major center not only for Indian companies but also foreign companies. They set up call centers here as they can get people who can speak English and will work for lower wages. Speak English and will work for lower wages. It's a call center, a center which is a centralized office that deals with problems and questions regarding any, sorry, that deals with problems and questions regarding any, customer service. Okay, so yeah. Why do you think small workshops and factories employ casual laborers? Because then they do not have to give them job security and the working conditions. Like you cannot make them work beyond particular hours or duration of the hours. How many work hours you make them work, like 8 hours, 10 hours. So they are saved from all that pressure. Describe the working condition of people like Nirmala's, keeping in mind the following: working hours, condition of the workplace, earnings, and the days of the work available. So, like, they are given 6 days a week, and the workplace conditions, you can see whether it is the place is hygienic or not. Or working hours, so somebody is made to work for 10 to 12 hours. Then the timings from 8 a.m. in the morning to at least 10 a.m. in 10 p.m. in the night. So you can see. What do you say that domestic workers like housemaids are also casual workers? Why? Describe the work of one such woman detail in where she does in others. Yes, it is also casual labor because there's no job security. The wages are very low, and it depends on the person who's employed her to either ask her to leave or to work. So it depends. In the office area, my aunt Sudha works as a marketing manager. She had asked us to reach her office before 5:30 p.m. We thought we would get late, so we took an auto rickshaw that managed to get us there in time. Her office was in an area surrounded by tall buildings. There were hundreds of people coming out. Some headed for the car park, while others went towards the row of buses. My aunt is a marketing manager in a company which manufactures biscuits. The factory where the biscuits are made is outside the city. She supervises the work of 50 salesperson who travel to different parts of the city. They get orders from shopkeepers and collect payments from them. She has divided the city into 6 regions, and once a week she meets the salespersons of each region. She checks the progress report and discusses the problem they face. She has to plan the sales in the entire city and often has to work late and travel to different places. She gets a regular salary, even every month, and is a permanent worker with the company. She can expect her job to continue for a longer period of time. Being a permanent member, she also gets other benefits such as savings for an old age. A part of her salary is kept in a fund with the government. She will earn interest on these savings. When she retires from this job, she'll get this money, and she can then live on that. Holidays, she gets off on Sundays and national holidays. She also gets some days as annual leave. Medical facilities. Medical facilities for her family. Her company pays her medical expenses up to a certain amount of for her and her family members. She gets medical leave if she falls ill, and her salary is not cut if she takes the leave. There are many workers in the city who work on offices, factories, and government departments where they are employed as regular and permanent workers. They attend the same office or factory regularly. Their wage Their work is clearly identified. They get a regular salary. Unlike casual workers, they will not be asked to leave if the factory does not have much work. At the end of the day, we got into the my aunt's cars exhausted, but it had been so much fun. And I thought how interesting that so many people do so many different kinds of work in the city. They have probably never met each other, but it is their work that ties them together and helps them makes up city life. Questions. Now, some of the questions here we have to discuss. Read and discuss the following description of the living condition of the workers who come to the labor chalk. Now, you remember we've studied that these people who come to the labor chalk to get work early morning. Most workers that we find at the labor chalk cannot afford permanent accommodation and so sleep on pavements near the chalk. Then, or they pay rupees 6 a night for a bed at a nearby night shelter run by the municipal corporation to compensate for the lack of security. Local tea and cigarette shops and cigarette shops functions as banks, money lenders, and safety lockers all rolled into one. Most workers leave their tools at these shops for the night and for safekeeping and pass on any extra money to them. The shopkeepers keep the money safely and also offer loans to laborers in need. So, we're talking about the working condition of the people who work, in the labor industry, where they either sleep on the pavement. You see on the roadside near, they either sleep on that, or maybe they, um, give like 6 rupees a night to the municipal corporation to get a shelter, so they don't have any safe locker. Or so the nearby shop owners, like the cigarette shop, or they function as a bank. They, even if they want some kind of money, they borrow from there. Complete the following table and discuss their work, how their work is different name. Bigabatu, Bachu Manji, Harpreet, Vandana, Nirmala, Sudha. So these are the different kinds of the earnings will go like this. It's increasing from year to year. Okay. Security of work. No security for Nirmala because she is not in permanent employee. Benefits received. Work on their own or are they employed? They are under the. They've been given work by somebody or they either own that business. In what ways is a permanent and regular job different from a casual job? Of course, firstly, the job security, you have other benefits also in a permanent job, like we discussed of Sudha, who works as a manager. She gets savings for old age holidays, she gets medical facilities, and yeah, there are many other, work, there are many other. Benefits, like of course she gets a regular salary also. What benefits does Sudha get along with the salary? We've already discussed that pension, holidays, medical, and etc. Fill in the following table to show services provided by people in the market which you visit frequently. Now you can write about the shops you see in the market area which you visit, and what are the services they provide. So yeah, these are some of the references of this NCRT they've taken the material from. And with this we complete this book, Social and Political Life, part 1, class 6, CBSE NCRT. And we'll first continue the social and political life and all the books from 6 to from class 6 to 12. So in the next class we'll be starting with class 7 book, Political and Social Life. So till then, take care and stay positive and be healthy. Bye.